George Kambosos Jr. versus Maxi Hughes, 12-round fight this weekend. It should be a good one. Let's get into it. Let's start with the former champ, George Kambosos Jr. 20 wins, 2 losses, 10 wins by way of knockout. I like Kambosos. I like his mentality. I like that he believes he's great. I like that he believes he's a gladiator. He's mentally tough. He's not a guy you're going to break inside of the ring. You might beat him, and I'm saying you might beat him up, but you won't break him. You won't break his spirit. You won't break his will. He's going to bring his best every single fight. He's going to give it his all. But let's go back a bit, right? Before fighting Devin Haney in his last 2 fights from 2019 to 2021, Kambosos did a lot inside the ring, including a split decision win in 2019 against Mickey Bay, where both guys had great moments. And I think that was a fight that put George Kambosos on the map, so to speak, a little bit more. People knew who Mickey Bay, the former IBO champion, was, right? But George Kambosos, he was still coming up. And when his name was mentioned, they would also mention, oh, this is Manny Pacquiao's training partner. Nobody wants to be mentioned as somebody's just their training partner. You want to be mentioned by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're affiliated with them. But when your name is mentioned, you want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, as George Kambosos was trying to do to this point. And this was going to be a big test for him, and he passed that test. Kambosos used his jab, used his speed, the quick hands. He pressured smartly and scored a knockdown in the 10th round that solidified the win for him in that fight. That, to me, more than him scoring that knockdown, man, it was all will and heart in the second half of the fight that carried him through to finish that fight and to get the win over Mickey Bay. Then he goes to fight Lee Selby, who was supposed to win that fight on paper, right? Many people was not expecting Kambosos to come out with the win. But again, Kambosos showed a lot of skill, a lot of heart, a lot of will, and he was boxing very smartly, right? He's a counterpuncher, and Selby isn't the most aggressive fighter. So it was a little different tactical fight for Kambosos than his previous one when he fought Mickey Bay, right? In this fight, he was more patient. He had to take what was given to him, and he stayed the course and stayed to the plan and stayed disciplined throughout the fight. Kambosos doesn't have devastating power, right? But he has good pop, and he's consistent with what he does throughout the fight. And so when he is fighting from round 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 and so forth, his pop kind of consistently stays the same, and his speed kind of stays the same, and that will definitely stays the same, but it grows stronger as the fight goes on. He's just consistently in the physical style and skill throughout the fight. He's always in great shape, and that's a strength of his consistency, because he's always coming into these fights in great shape. Great endurance and training carries over to great endurance inside of the ring. When Selby was slowing down in the latter half of the fight, Kambosos stayed the same. The consistency, right? And he was letting his hands go a little bit more. He was able to get the win. Now, Selby was keeping the distance and boxing on the outside, right? But when he was engaging and took more risk, that's when Kambosos started to come alive, and he got the job done and he got the win. But it was a different tactical fight for George Kambosos in that fight. After that, he faced the then champion Teofimo Lopez, a fight where very few people expected Teofimo to lose that fight, let alone get knocked down in the first round. Right? Teofimo came in aggressively. He overcommitted. Remember, he was talking about, man, I'm going to knock this guy out in the first round. So there's a lot of people that talk about what they're going to do, but there's not a lot of people that bring that same energy, right? People talk about, man, I'm going to knock you out in the first round. But then they go into the ring and it's a more tactical fight, and they're just waiting to see what's going on. But no, not Teofimo Lopez. He came in and he was aggressive early. He was sitting down on his punches early, and that's perfect. That's what George Kambosos wanted, and George Kambosos took advantage of that, him being the person with the quicker hands and the counter puncher that he is. Now, I know Teofimo Lopez had some health issues and stuff that he said that he had going on, but to me, If you are in the ring and you took the fight, yo, all excuses go out of the window. And a lot of people try to discredit George Kambosos for his win when I don't think that's fair to him, because he fought a great fight. The man fought his heart out. He scored a knockdown in the early rounds and really built up a good lead. Teofimo came on in the middle rounds and was coming on towards the end of the fight, but George Kambosos held his own. George Kambosos did not back down. He stayed mentally strong. He stayed and stuck to the game plan, and he was able to come away with a win, and a win that really put his name on the top, a win that really showed that he isn't just a guy who was Manny Pacquiao's old training partner, that he is one of the best in that division. Now, Kambosos took a lot of punches that fight, right? So it also goes to show that he has a good chin. He can take a shot, right? Defensively, yeah, he could be better, right? His head stays on the line and doesn't move as much, right? And if you got a good jab and you can keep the distance and you got good footwork, you will give George Kambosos some problems, right? But that night, he was mentally stronger than Teofimo, right? All of the outside troubles that was coming into the fight, right? The delays, the fight between both camps, all of the stuff that made this fight a little longer to come to bring to life, man. You really have to stay locked in when things get delayed and when outside problems came in. George Kambosos was able to do that. He was able to stay locked in and mentally be in the moment and not let the moment be too big for him. He did a great job that night and he got the win. And not to mention, that win aged very well, considering who Teofimo just beat. After that, he goes to fight the champion now, Devin Haney, twice. In the first fight, it was clear to me that George Kambosos was going to have a hard time boxing Devin Haney, right? Haney is the more skilled boxer, the better technical boxer, the better defensive fighter, and the more athletic fighter, right? Devin Haney does not make a whole lot of mistakes throughout the fight, and Kambosos needed to be perfect. He needed to take a risk, or he needed to find a way to force Devin Haney to take a risk where he could capitalize. But Haney is a disciplined fighter who's going to stick to his game plan, and it was a similar outcome in the second fight. It was a similar style in the second fight, but I did feel like George Kambosos gave a better effort and a better showing in the second of their fight. You got to respect him for what he's been able to do, man. You know, Devin Haney is a special fighter, and for him to give Devin Haney a shot for the undisputed title, right? A fight where he knew the odds was against him. You got to respect that, because he honored what he said he was going to do. He could have took a lesser fight, right? But he wanted to honor what he said to Devin Haney and gave him an opportunity. So you got to respect that. He didn't dodge the best. He fought the best. And in this fight, he will need to continue his winning ways if he wants to stay atop of the division. But let's talk about his opponent, Maxi Hughes. 26 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, and 5 wins by way of knockout. Since his loss in 2019, he has won every single fight since then. He's on a 7-fight win streak, right? Including wins over Ryan Walsh and Kid Galahad, which we'll get into shortly. So you know he's feeling good. You know he's feeling confident. You know he's got a lot of momentum coming in on his side. You know he's confident. Now, he's not a big puncher, right? But he's got some good pop to him. He's got good size, uses his jab well, you know, good feints, changes levels well to try to give different looks and how he's going to bring in his attacks, right? Has good punches. Straight hand punches are pretty good. Hooks are pretty good. Uppercuts pretty good. You know, he knows how to tie you up to frustrate you, and he knows how to tie you up to get out of danger. He knows how to use his body pretty well in the fights. In his last fight, he fought against Kid Galahad. I thought he fought very well that fight. He took advantage of Galahad's overcommitment at times, but he also took advantage of Galahad's hesitancy at times as well, right? He stayed within his skill set and his game plan. He was trying to lure Galahad in, you know, make him overcommit and then come through with the left hand, right? He's trying to set up that left hand, whether it's a straight left hand down the middle to your chest, whether it's a body jab or a body hook or an uppercut. He's going to stay in front of you, maybe not too long, but he's going to be there to be hit and to do the hitting. I don't think he was the favorite in that fight against Kid Galahad, right? But he fought like he should have been. You know what I'm saying? He fought like he should have been the favorite. I thought he boxed very well, keeping the distance, consistently moving, making it hard to be hit, and showing good boxing IQ, good ring generalship, right? His shots weren't punishing, but they were enough to score points. They were enough to knock Galahad's head back a little bit so the ref could see. Also got to mention the point deduction that Galahad too. He was frustrated. Maxi Hughes was frustrating him, right? And I thought he won that fight pretty clearly. I don't know what this whole mixed decision thing was, but, you know, that's how boxing is sometimes. But I thought Maxi Hughes fought a great fight. He was the underdog, and he came out on top that fight. Junior. So who wins? Look, Maxi Hughes is going to need to bring some of that patience and movement and fight on the outside if he wants to make this tough for George Kambosos. Kambosos needs his opponent to come in with pressure so he can use it against you, but Hughes isn't a pressure fighter, right? So how will George Kambosos adjust? I think Kambosos is going to come in with something to prove after his last few fights, needing a win. He will be looking to get back into some big fights if he can get this win. If he loses a third fight, I could see a situation where he says, you know what, I'm going to hang up the gloves. I've seen him talk about retirement before. He seems like a guy that is going to follow through with what he says. But if he wins, it gives him another life. If he wins, it puts and keeps him right where he is, or maybe puts him one, two more notches up from where he's ranked right now. I think this is going to be a fight that has a lot of pressure to it because of what is going to come next. And I also think George Kambosos is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and going to try to come in with something to prove. He's going to come in to remind people that, hey, I'm still here. I was once a champion. I haven't left. I like George Kambosos to win this fight by decision. And if he lets his hands go a little bit, especially early, I could see an outcome where he gets the stoppage win, but I like George Kambosos by decision. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. We got a membership section going on the channel. Don't always get to do all the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below. But if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you would like to become a member just to support the channel, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the members holding down the section already. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.